Over.
Exactly. And I think that's another reason why, people who say that Magnus is in a slump, don't factor in a lot of things. And one of those things is the fact that Magnus wins not only more games, he wins so many more games like this than anybody else, where
Mm.
it just seems like his opponent has a fine position and Shakhriyar was playing creatively. And then two moves later, is completely lost. And you look back and you say, well, he didn't make any obvious blunders. That exchange sacrifice looked justified. I think if we reason objectively, h6 might have been the biggest mistake of the game. Although I'd have to take a closer look with an engine to
Mm.
tell you for certain. But it seems to me that in this position, he had to get that bishop out while he had a chance, not letting white coordinate. What he was afraid of here is rook takes f8, bishop f8, and perhaps knight g5. And that is indeed quite scary. And so Shakhriyar saying, hey, let me take a tempo and go h6. That one tempo allowed white to bring the rook into a1. And queen d1 was such a nice move. And then b3 is just phenomenal. The presence of mind to realize that the pawn on c3 is totally innocuous. And then rook a6, knight e1, all of this played with filigree precision. This is a classic Magnus game. Vintage technique, a great opening idea, and everything in between.
And I have to say, I'm looking forward to hearing from Magnus, because we heard from him the last time in an interview after his win against Prague, where he didn't seem completely satisfied. He seemed exhausted as well. But today he has all reason to be happy with his effort, and I'm looking forward to hearing from him.
Yeah, he really seemed fresh today. He seemed well rested. Just you can tell by his play. There was just a certain intensity to it that we're used to seeing when Magnus is at his best. 8 minutes now for Shakhriyar, who is searching in vain for a single way to complicate the game. You can just tell by his facial expression he ain't finding anything. And as his time ticks down, resignation becomes the likeliest option.
I agree with you. For now, let's go back to
square for the queen, queen e1. And there's just a couple of lines here that are easy to calculate. If knight d3, that looks dangerous at first, but white responds with rook takes e7, and both queens are hanging. And if knight takes e1 after rook takes e7, it's all over. Probably bishop g5 is the best bet for black. And now white could even just play d takes e5, allow promotion, and respond with rook takes c1, bishop takes c1, bishop takes d5, and white is 2 pawns up. But on top of that, white wins a third pawn and perhaps even a piece with rook c6. So that's one way the game could unfold. A good chance by Shak. I mean, c2 is the best practical chance that he has, but it's obviously not going to help.
now, and we see the time drop down here, and I still think that now maybe we'll see a handshake here. Shah has tried his last shot, but yeah, there's just no more tries here. And well, we'll open a camera. Maybe expect this to be over momentarily. Things
Yes.
are happening in the Duda Yesipenko game, Daniel.
Yeah, they are. That game and the Prague game. Let's have a look
Oh,
at
and
the
there's
Duda
the
game.
handshake.
Oh, there's a result.
Yeah. Shakhriyar resigning in this position after Queen e1. We see the two players